Welcome to today's day in the life video. I am working in the garden today, picking some seeds, harvesting whatever is growing, and trying to create systems for organizing my seeds. So I'm kind of thankful the garden is winding down. It was a lot of work this year, but I'm really grateful for all that we got from it. One of my favorite things that we grew, this was my first time growing it, was sorghum. When we lived in Kentucky, our friends grew sorghum, and it made the most beautiful fall dried flower arrangements. So that was the main reason why I wanted to grow sorghum. I had no idea how easy it is to grow. You can see how closely spaced it is, so it doesn't take up a lot of room, and it's even getting a second sprout on the stalk, so it was just amazing. And it's so beautiful, especially this time of year when most things are dying off. This is still looking really beautiful. So I'll save the grains to grind in our wheat grinder, and then also for planting, and then I may try using the stalks to make sorghum syrup. I don't have a press, so I don't know how well that's gonna go, but I figure I might as well give it a try. The tomatoes are definitely slowing down as well. This is my collection for today, along with the gooseberries that I picked. Some people call them ground cherries, but they grow wild where Scott's from in South Africa, and that was the first time I'd ever had or picked a gooseberry, and so I call them gooseberries because that's what they call them. And so I love growing them because it feels like it brings me back to when we first foraged them together. And so one of the things though is you want to make sure that they are not green when you eat them, that they're yellow, because if you have too many of them when they're green, they are toxic when they're green, so it could make your stomach upset. So you want to make sure that they're yellow, and they're so cool. They hang like these little paper lanterns off of the plant, and then they will fall off. When they fall, that's when you can pick them, and a lot of times when they fall off they're still green, so I will just sit them on our countertops in the husk and let them turn yellow in their own time. And you can see this little guy, it was ready to go. It was already yellow. So sometimes they're yellow already when they fall off, but a lot of times they are green, so I'll just wait for them to turn yellow. We did get a few gourds this year, and I've been leaving them on the vine as long as possible, but I noticed that they were starting to get brown on the one side, so I decided to go ahead and pick those while they're still beautiful. And now I am picking our fennel. I like growing fennel to use in teas for if we have a cough or a cold. It is known to help loosen up the mucus. And as with all herbs, make sure you do your research before taking any herbs as teas. A great resource that I love is a book called Conceiving Healthy Babies by Dawn Combs. She goes through and shares each herb and whether or not it's good for you pre-conception, during pregnancy, and then also during breastfeeding. It is my go-to resource for mostly all things herbs. She also has a book called Heal Local that I also really recommend if you want to get into herbalism. And now I am picking some yarrow to dehydrate. I like having yarrow on hand for if Scott gets a cough, I can make him some tea with it in it because it is known to help with a cough. I usually don't add it to my tea because there are other things that could affect a female's body. So again, that's just things for you to look up when you're using herbs, but usually in small amounts it's not that big of a deal anyways, but just to be precautionary. And then also if you dehydrate the yarrow and turn it into a powder, it is really good to put on cuts when you start bleeding. It will stop the bleeding. And now I'm also harvesting some lemon balm, and I love lemon balm for teas. It makes the most delicious, refreshing tea, whether it's hot or cold steeped overnight in the fridge. It is just lovely. I have some echinacea leaves down here that I'm harvesting, and then also a big old dandelion is growing right next to it, so I'm going to go ahead and harvest some of those leaves as well. The finches got to many of my sunflower seeds before I did, but I was able to cut a lot of them down before they were totally gone, so I will be saving these seeds. I am making pasta sauce with the tomatoes that I was able to get from the garden. There's not enough here to can anything, but we're gonna have pizza this week, so I will be using this as my pizza sauce for the week. And this morning I made some hot sauce, so you could see some of that residue I left in there just to add some extra flavoring to the tomato sauce. Nothing wasted. I think that's what's fun with learning to build your home economy, is stewarding the resources that you have and using everything well. So picking some basil from the garden. When I was canning pasta sauce all summer, I never used the purple basil because if I ever make pasta or pizza for other people, I noticed that the purple color of the basil is kind of a turnoff. So whenever something's just for us, that's when I will use the purple basil. And now I am picking seeds from the garden. It hasn't rained in quite a while, so it's very dry, which makes it the perfect time to be picking seeds. Last year I used this method of using a muffin tin. It was kind of out of an emergency because we were moving and I was trying to save as many seeds from our garden as I possibly could, so the little compartments made it easy for quick picking and organizing, and it was really helpful. So I did that again this year, and it just makes it easy just to get everything in the container labeled, and then I can let it air dry a little bit, make sure all the bugs are gone and out of it before I organize it and put it into my seed packets for storage. And time to dehydrate some of these herbs that I picked today. So in years past, I would let my herbs air dry. In our house, I have these collapsible drying racks that I would tie the herbs in bundles and hang them on the racks. But where we live now is extremely humid, and so my concern with doing that is that they would never dry properly. So I am using my dehydrator, and I do use this on the lowest setting. So it takes a few days to dry this, and I do it on the lowest setting. That way I preserve as much of the nutrients in the herbs as I can, and it's just patience. I don't love the noise of this machine. I would much prefer to just let them hang and air dry, but it's the next best thing is to dehydrate them. After a few days, they should be totally dry. I will shift the racks around and make sure that, you know, the bottom then gets moved to the top, and then I will put them in my glass jars that are labeled, and that is what I do with my herbs. Now I am working on saving seeds. So these are the zinnias. Zinnias, well, actually all seeds are really easy to save, but zinnias are super easy to save. And as I was working on these, I realized that they needed to dry out a little bit more. I just picked a few and then I put those back into the muffin tins to let them dry out with the other ones before I work on them anymore. Again, with building your home economy, taking the time to save seeds from your garden, you are saving so much money down the road, because every year it's so tempting to buy more seeds, buy more seeds. But if you can buy seeds once, and then, or if someone gifts you with seeds once or gifts you with a plant and then you save those seeds, you'll never have to buy those seeds ever again. Part of that also then goes with storing them well. So that has been something I've been trying to figure out. A few years ago, I did a really good job with organizing them. And then last year it was just kind of chaos with trying to save as many seeds as I possibly could from our garden. You'll see what kind of ended up happening. But one of the ways that I want to organize is making my own seed packets. So this is just thick white paper that I folded and taped and made sure that it fits in the container that I have it in. And then I'm just labeling it and then also writing down the instructions for how to plant it. That way, come springtime, it's just easy to see right on my own seed packet when I need to plant it, how deep I need to plant the seed. And this is echinacea seeds, and you can see the thing is super pokey, so I'm just trying to get out the seeds in a way without poking myself, and I think I waited too long to harvest those. It seemed that a lot of the seeds had already fallen out. I was still able to get enough of those. And this is yarrow seed, which the seeds are tiny. They're so little that I decided not to even bother with opening them up. So you can see what they look like here. They were just dried on the plant. So I am just putting them in this packet like this. And this is lemon basil. If you could smell how good this smelled as I was working on getting these seeds out, it was so amazing. Lemon basil is one of my favorite things to grow because it makes the most delicious tea. It's probably my favorite summertime tea to drink. And I will be doing this over the next few days. I'm not in a mad rush to get everything done at once. My goal is just to do a little bit each day, and that way I can create a system that is organized. That has been my goal this year, is to create systems for organization that I am able to maintain. So I've had these as my seed holding containers. They are sewing machine drawers, and that works great. My problem is I have tons of seeds that I just put in bags or whatever I could find last year when I was in a mad rush of packing and cleaning things up and trying to move. I ended up just putting seeds in whatever packets or bags I could find. I am grateful that I did label them, but this isn't the best way of organizing seeds. This spring when I was trying to plant, it just felt very chaotic trying to find the seeds that I was looking for. So my goal this month is to get all of this organized, put all of these seeds in proper storage, those envelopes that I made, label them, write how they need to be planted. But I did want to show you this. I had first started making these little origami folding things for my seed packets last fall, and it's really cute. If I were to give seeds as gifts, I think this is a really cute, beautiful way of doing it. It's just not practical as far as putting it in my little sewing boxes because they just get buried down in there, and it's also, you can see it's a little bit confusing trying to remember how it closes up because the flaps have to go in one direction. I eventually figured it out. I'll work on this over the rest of the month to try to get them organized, but you can see the seed packets that I worked on today. And then I organize my seeds by the type. And then again, I did this a few years ago, so I really like this system. I just need to organize all of my seeds into this system. So that is my plan. I hope that this video has been enjoyable for you to watch. Oh, and I wanted to show you how I save my cherry tomato or any tomato seeds. I just lay them out on paper towels and then let them air dry, and then I just put the whole paper towel into the seed packet, and then when it comes to plant, I just tear it and put the paper towel and the seed in the planting. So that's how I do that. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I bless you and the rest of your day.